Tonight, as you settle into your bed and let the world quiet down around you, I invite you to take a soft, slow walk through one of the calmest, quietest, and most uneventful corners of human history. Nothing dramatic will happen here. No battles, no kings, no conspiracies, just gentle stories of ordinary people, small towns, and tiny moments that shaped history in the most boring but strangely comforting way. This is history designed to help you relax, unwind, and drift peacefully into sleep. Our journey begins in a small farming village somewhere in the middle of Europe in the early 1600s. The village doesn't have a famous name, and its people never appear in textbooks. But their quiet routines tell a story of simple human life. Every morning, just before sunrise, a man named Elias walked to his field. He carried the same wooden hoe his father used, and he planted the same type of wheat that had been growing there for generations. Nothing exciting happened on most days. Elias checked the soil, looked at the sky, and wondered whether the rain would come. On time, these slow rhythms repeated year after year, forming the kind of history most people forget, but which filled countless lives. A short walk away lived an elderly woman named Marta. She wasn't known for anything special. She baked bread, fed her chickens, and kept her tiny garden alive. But she had one hobby. She saved every single piece of fabric left over from old clothes. Over the years, she had stitched hundreds of small scraps together, forming blankets no one else found impressive. But to her, each scrap carried a memory. A shirt her husband wore before he passed, a tiny blue cloth from her granddaughter's first dress, a piece of linen from a neighbour who moved away. In a world full of wars and kings, Marta's small patchwork of memories might seem unimportant, but it tells a gentle story of how people held onto the little pieces of life. Now, let's drift to another distant moment, this time to a quiet library in the late 1800s in the United States. The library was small, only one floor, with rows of wooden shelves and a large round clock that ticked loudly in the silent room. The librarian, Mr. Dawson, came to work every morning at the same exact time. He unlocked the door, dusted the shelves, and arranged the books by topics no one asked about. He loved the history section, even though very few people ever touched it. On the top shelf, there was a thick book titled Agricultural Records from 1823. The book had no exciting stories, just numbers, crop reports, and dull observations about soil quality. But Mr. Dawson found comfort in these ordinary details. They reminded him that the world moves slowly, and that most of human life is made of simple patterns that repeat quietly. As you listen to this slow drift through history, you might notice your mind beginning to loosen. That's okay. Let the calmness settle in. Let's move now to a peaceful port town in the early 1700s. Not a famous port, just a small, sleepy place where a few boats came and went each week. Fishermen repaired their nets, merchants counted their coins, and children played near the docks. Almost nothing exciting happened there, except maybe when a ship arrived one day with a cargo of apples instead of fish. The townspeople were mildly surprised, but quickly went back to their routines. Days passed slowly. Tides rose and fell, and life continued without drama. Across the world, in a quiet part of ancient China, there once lived a man whose job was to sweep fallen leaves from a long stone pathway leading to a temple. Every day, year after year, he brushed the same stones clean. Leaves fell, he swept. Wind blew, he swept again. Sometimes he wondered whether anyone even noticed his work. But for him, the sound of leaves sliding gently across the stones was peaceful, almost like a soft whisper from nature. In its own boring way, it became a part of history too. Now, imagine yourself drifting through time, visiting a small American town in the early 1900s. It's a place with wide dirt roads, wooden houses, and a single street lamp that glows dimly at night. People close their shops early. Families sit on porches, rocking slowly in wooden chairs. Neighbors greet each other with the same lines every day. Weather looks good, or heard the train was late again. Life here is steady, predictable, and wonderfully uneventful. Nothing grabs attention. Nothing pulls energy. Everything just flows calmly. As you breathe slowly, let your mind wander further into the most forgettable moments of history. Imagine a man sitting alone in a workshop in the 1920s, sharpening pencils for a local school. That was his job. Day after day, he sharpened pencils, placed them neatly in boxes, and stacked those boxes on a wooden shelf. He didn't rush. He didn't worry. He simply sharpened one pencil after another, creating a rhythm as soft and repetitive as a lullaby. And finally, let's float into a small,